From the outside, the Carters had the perfect life. A beautiful home, successful careers, a love story that made their neighbors envious. But behind closed doors, something was very, very wrong. Emily Carter was the kind of woman people admired. Warm, charismatic, the sort of neighbor who brought homemade pies to block parties. Her husband, Daniel, charming, a respected financial advisor. The couple everyone whispered about. Why can't we be more like them? But no one saw what happened when the front door locked. No one heard the way Daniel's voice turned to ice when company left. You embarrassed me tonight. The way Emily's laughter would die mid-sentence when his shadow filled the doorway. The first time he hit her, she made excuses. It was my fault. I pushed him. But with every bruise she hid under foundation, the truth grew harder to ignore. Then came the night the screaming didn't stop. Neighbors would later tell police they thought it was just a TV show. But 911 dispatch logs revealed the call that never came. Emily had dialed 3 times only to hang up, Daniel's voice hissing in the background. Who are you gonna call, Em? They'll never believe you. But Emily wasn't as helpless as he thought. Months of secret planning. A burner phone hidden in the laundry room. A coded journal documenting every threat. And then the final piece. The day Daniel came home to an empty house. No note, no trace, just his own reflection in the hallway mirror, and the faint click of a recording device still running in the kitchen. Funny thing about abusers, they never see it coming when the victim becomes the survivor. The trial made headlines. Daniel's shocked colleagues. The neighbors. We had no idea. But as the judge read the verdict guilty on all counts, Emily wasn't in the courtroom. She was 2,000 miles away, watching the live stream on a borrowed laptop. When a notification popped up, the text says, "You didn't think it was over, did you? Because the thing about monsters, they don't always stay locked up." Emily Carter had spent months planning her escape. Every fake smile, every hidden bruise, every whispered phone call to the domestic abuse hotline had led to this moment of freedom. Or so she thought. The trial had been swift. Daniel's charm couldn't save him this time, not with the mountain of evidence she'd left behind the voice recordings, the photos of her injuries timestamped and backed up in the cloud, the journal she'd kept in code. The jury took less than 3 hours to convict him. 12 years in prison. Justice served. But as Emily sat in that dim motel room, watching the live stream of his sentencing, she felt no relief. Only the gnawing dread that had lived in her bones for years. You didn't think it was over, did you? The text glowed on her screen. An unknown number. Her blood turned to ice. Then the knock. 3 slow, deliberate raps on the door. Emily's breath caught. She wasn't supposed to be here. She'd paid cash, used a fake name, moved under cover of night. No one knew where she was. No one except the person who sent that text. The knock came again, louder this time. She crept to the door, heart hammering, and peered through the peephole. Nothing. Just the empty parking lot, flickering under a burnt-out streetlight. Then her phone buzzed again. You always forget, Em. I have friends everywhere. A car door slammed outside. Emily stumbled back, her mind racing. Daniel was in prison. He couldn't be here. But his influence, his twisted network of enablers, that was another story. She grabbed her go-bag, cash, a new ID, a bus ticket to nowhere, and bolted for the bathroom window. It was small, barely enough to squeeze through, but it led to the alley, to a chance. As she wriggled through, her phone lit up one last time. Asterisk, run all you want. I'll always find you. Asterisk. Her hands shook as she dropped to the pavement. She didn't look back, but she should have, because in the shadows of the motel stairwell, a figure stood watching. A cigarette glowed in the dark, then dropped, crushed under a boot. The hunt was just beginning. The figure stepped closer, his face still hidden in the alley's gloom. Emily's pulse roared in her ears. No, this isn't happening. She'd watched Daniel get sentenced, seen him led away in handcuffs. Unless, you look like you've seen a ghost, the man said. But the voice wasn't Daniel's. The streetlight flickered, illuminating the face of Jake, Daniel's estranged twin brother. The one who'd vanished years ago after their falling out. The one no one ever talked about. Emily staggered back. "You're supposed to be dead." Jake smirked, tapping his phone. The source of the texts. "Funny. Daniel said the same thing about you." Then he threw something at her feet. A news article. Dated 2 days after her escape. Local woman found dead in motel. Police suspect foul play. Her own face stared back from the photo. Emily's breath came in short gasps. "That's not. I didn't." "Oh, it's you all right," Jake said. *DNA confirmed. "So tell me." He stepped closer, voice dropping to a whisper. "Who the hell did they put on trial?" Somewhere behind them, a car door slammed. Jake's smile vanished. "They're here." "Whose?" The gunshot cracked through the alley before she could finish. Jake collapsed, blood blooming across his chest. Emily spun toward the shooter and froze. A woman stood silhouetted in the alley's entrance. Same height, same hair, same face. "Run," the other Emily hissed. "Before they realize there's 2 of us." The gunshot still echoed in Emily's ears as she stared at the woman who wore her face. "Run," the other Emily had said. So she ran. Her sneakers pounded the pavement, heart threatening to burst from her chest. The alley twisted into darkness, the only light coming from flickering street lamps that seemed to die as she passed them. Behind her, footsteps 2 sets, 3, chased in chaotic rhythm. She ducked into a boarded-up laundromat, pressing her back against a broken dryer as she struggled to steady her breathing. The smell of mildew and old detergent filled her nose. Her phone buzzed. A new message from the unknown number, * the real one this time. * unknown, check your pocket. Emily's fingers trembled as she reached into her hoodie. A folded photograph, a hospital wristband, and a keycard labeled Project Echo Clearance Level 5. The photo showed 2 girls, maybe 8 years old, identical down to the same crooked smile. But the caption in faded ink froze her blood. Subject E1 and E2. Viable genetic match. Proceeding to Phase 2. The wristband bore a name. Emily Carter, DOB June 12, 1991. But Emily's birthday was March 3rd. A metallic click sounded at the door. Emily lunged behind a washing machine just as a flashlight beam cut through the dark. "You always hid here when we were kids, too," a voice sighed. The other Emily, no E2, stepped inside, gun raised. "They trained us with the same instincts. Makes you predictable." "What the hell is Project Echo?" Emily demanded, fingers tightening around the keycard. E2's laugh was hollow. "You really don't remember? The foster home? The doctors who gave us candy after the injections." She tapped her temple. "They split us apart at 12. Gave you to the Carters. Gave me to the lab. Then they watched to see which version of Emily turned out stronger." Car screeched outside. Red and blue lights pulsed through the cracks in the boards. E2's face hardened. "They're here to clean up their failed experiment. And Emily," she racked the slide of her gun. "We're both failures now." The door exploded inward. Black-clad figures stormed the room, shouting E1 and E2, "Stand down." But E2 was already moving, shoving Emily toward a back exit. "The keycard opens locker 227 at Union Station," E2 hissed. "Everything's there. Proof. Names. The others like us." Then, louder, to the intruders, "I'm the one you want." She fired wildly, giving Emily just enough time to bolt right into the arms of a man in a surgical mask. "Subject E1," he murmured, pressing a needle to her neck. "Time to come home." The world blurred. The last thing Emily saw before the darkness took her was E2's body hitting the floor, a single word mouthed in her direction. "Run." The chemical sting of antiseptic burned Emily's nostrils as she fought her way back to consciousness. White fluorescent lights glared overhead. Straps bit into her wrists and ankles, securing her to a cold metal table. A familiar voice cut through the fog. "Welcome back, E1. Daniel stood over her, clad in a lab coat, holding a syringe. But his eyes, God, his eyes were all wrong. Flat, clinical. not the eyes of the man she'd married. You, Emily's voice cracked. You were part of this? Daniel. No, Dr. Carter. Smiled. I am this. Project Echo needed a behavioral control group. Who better to monitor our subjects than their own husbands? He tapped a monitor. Security footage played, showing rows of identical suburban homes, each with an Emily clone and a husband observer. We made you perfect, he continued, but perfection needs testing, stress responses, survival instincts. So we let some of you think you were abused. Let others believe they were the abusers. And when a clone became unstable, he gestured to a door marked termination. Emily's stomach turned. The bruises, the 911 calls, the trial, all staged, all data, then a blaring alarm. The lights flickered red as gunfire erupted outside. Daniel spun toward the door just as it burst open. Itu stood there, bloodied but alive, flanked by armed figures in tactical gear. Wrong again, Doctor. Itu spat. You made us to be survivors. She tossed Emily a pistol. Daniel lunged for a panic button. Emily fired. The bullet struck his shoulder, sending him crashing into the monitor. Shattered glass rained down as the screen died, taking the proof of their twisted lives with it. Locker 227, Itu said, dragging Emily up. Now, before more come. 1 month later, the USB drive from Union Station had been encrypted with a looping video, a manifesto from the original Emily Carter, the template. A whistleblower who'd discovered her DNA was being used for illegal human cloning. The file now burned in Emily's hands as she stood outside FBI headquarters, watching agents raid the last known Project Echo facility. Itu was gone, vanished into the wind with the other escaped clones. Daniel, facing life in a black site prison. And her? Emily turned her face toward the sun, feeling its warmth for the first time as a person, not an experiment. Then her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. They made more than just us. Find the others. A 7-inch. Attached was a photo of a little girl with Emily's eyes. Lesson. The darkest prisons are built with lies, but the truth? That's how you burn them down.